Thank you very much, Paul, and really glad to have Carl and Neil with us today. At the Founder Institute, we want to help founders build meaningful, enduring tech companies, and one of our startup mentors and partners is Rebecca Dooley, who is one of the platinum sponsors for Founder Institute in this part of the world. We lead the local team here, and we are passionate about wanting to help you, founders, build these meaningful and enduring tech companies. Well, we are the world's largest global network of startup accelerators, investors, and advisors. As many of you know, there is a founder journey, and in the earlier part of the journey, there can be education. Then there are incubators, accelerators, then there's getting funding, and then seed funding. At the Founder Institute, we specialise as an accelerator at a pre-seed stage, helping you refine your idea, refine your team, refine your approach to the market before you go on to get funding. And it all starts with what we call the core program. And this is a 13-week program where we help refine your idea for it to get validated, to build your product, and to think hard about your revenue. And beyond the core program, we have advanced accelerators to help you get funding, to build your leadership skills, and then to get access to funding. And this is some of our alumni, and there are a number of companies from our part of the world, including Checkbox, GameFace, GoFar, Sydney-based company, Houdini. At the Founder Institute, we want to help build communities, build funds, but at our core, we are about building startups. One of the things that we like founders to take part in is to perform an assessment of their entrepreneurial DNA. So it's a psychographic test, which is free to take, and it gives you a report. Are you a prodigy? And we find this is super helpful in being able to work out what your strengths are and also how you can find the strengths of your co-founders. One of the things that the Founder Institute is proud of is this startup rule of one. Solve one problem, not 100. Try to find who your one customer is going to be. Work out what the one product is to solve that one problem. Make sure that product has a killer feature and find one revenue stream. If you go through this process, you will realize that it is a proven methodology by focusing, and that's what we do at the Founder Institute through this core program. We have these sequential, aggressive growth sprints so that you can test who your one customer is, who your one product and your killer feature is, what your one revenue stream is going to be. Our platform is designed to help you put your startup idea through its paces. A recent report put out by Murray and the team at Startup Muster has found that an increasing number, so from 2018 it was 25% of startups, 2023 it was 32%, now in 2024 nearly 40% of startups have benefited from being part of an accelerator or incubator like Founder Institute. And one of the big things that we do, apart from networking, mentorship, it's peer support. We like providing raw feedback, unfiltered feedback, so that you can improve quickly. The feedback is actionable, stuff that you can do immediately so that your business can improve. And we are supported by a team of wonderful mentors, people who have been there and done that. Now, one of the things at the Founder Institute is the Equity Collective, where we ask founders who want to take part in the full program to provide a little share of the upside in their business to leaders, to mentors, and to Founder Institute headquarters. And these are the types of benefits that you get beyond our program. You get over $3 million in partner discounts, access to over 25,000 mentors, and a lifetime of support. One of those alum features is the Funding Lab to help you get funding. And Gagan Biani, this is what he has to say about Founder Institute. You might have used Udemy before. Without Founder Institute, Udemy may never have raised any money. We're here to help, but FI is hard. And this is what Jason Calacanis says about Founder Institute. We're all about empowering. We're open, raw, honest. And we run our next program in February 2025. It'll run till June. If you're interested in learning more, please reach out to Paul or I, and there's some of the socials that you can contact us on. And we will be running a few more events in early 2025. The Mad Libs is a one-sentence way to pitch your business that was developed by Founder Institute. You can see it here. My company is developing to help solve a particular problem with the secret sauce. What is that killer app? What is that thing that you do specially? For KFC, it might be their 11 herbs and secret spices. For SpaceX, what do you think of this? Developing liquid oxygen propelled levitation enablers. Who knows what that is? The human race? That audience is too big. Solve a problem with this secret sauce. So this is a bad example. Let's go to the good example. Space rockets, governments, telcos, launch satellites, lower price, reusable rocket. So you can see how it's being super clear about what you do using less jargon.
The company that I have founded is Asset Engineers, and what we're doing is we're developing an AI-driven inspection platform to help forensic structural engineers save time, number one, in their capturing of the data and their reporting. So our goal is just to take forensic inspections from an hour to 30 minutes, and the reporting's from 4 hours to 30 minutes as well.
Oh, and can you explain to us how you're actually doing the inspections and the reports now, and then maybe we can explain how we can recommend some tools to do it quicker?
Yeah, great. So I've sort of done a bit of a light MVP, which is I'm using make.com, bit of Airtable, and some stuff using the ChatGPT modules in Make to take my transcribed notes. So whether it's voice, and images, and then transforming that into the report format. I've obviously got other aspirations using image recognition, some point cloud scans and other bits and pieces like that to collect data. But I really want to start on that really light level and get it in the hands of other forensic structural engineers to start using it. And so that's what I want to do, is just to bring that inspection process, which I go out, have a look at the structure, diagnose whatever is wrong, and then recommend. And so that's essentially the report, and that's what we're making quicker. So
yeah. So I think a big part of the next iteration would be using like image detection or image recognition to recognize typical flaws or structural issues, and then start cataloging that, and building that out over time. So what have you done in regards to that?
So I probably got I've got my bank of reports that I've already written, and I've got the library of all of the defects in terms of photos, the words around, the discussions and things like that, which I want to sort of put in a database and start to leverage it. So that's what I've done at the moment. I currently pull in the reports into the large language model to inform the writing of the other reports that I'm doing. And I'm able to test it in my own business because I offer the service consulting as well. So that's what I've done there.
I've tried to do some research on image recognition and detection for you. I've got some notes, but to keep things moving, I think we're giving all the notes at the end. Yeah. But I think once you can start testing some of those and kind of think of like AI as just like the best and smartest assistant you've ever had. You still have to train it, right? So you have to tell her what to look for in regards to these inspections.
My dream is to have, AR glasses or whatever it may be, and be able to walk through a site and have that agent tell me what to look for, how to look for it, gone through everything. This is the light version of it, but I want to build to that eventually. So,
well, yeah, maybe eventually you don't even need you. You just get a drone or a Tesla robot
100%.
and just drop them off in a van. That's how you can scale
Correct.
yourself.
Correct.
I mean, there's a lot of databases, there's a lot of RAG, fine-tuning tools out there, open source ones. There's a lot of stuff that's being posted by Microsoft, and there's tryhelix.ai as an example, where they're just putting up the tools to make this stuff freely available. Llama, I mean, I don't know if you know much about the Facebook Llama model, why they did it.
A little bit, but not.
Just for everyone who doesn't necessarily know, it's like So there's OpenAI, there's
Yeah.
the others, and just the price was going up, and Facebook didn't want to pay for it, so they created the Llama model, made it free to drive the price to zero, which meant that everyone else had to bring their prices down. So essentially, the price is coming down to zero, which is why you see all the nano models and stuff. It's getting so cheap now. So yeah, the tools to do what you're doing, it's getting there. Your thought of being able to walk through a building site, because I know someone who tried to do something like this, their biggest problem was geolocation on a building site, was being able to accurately plot where something was. So they ended up shutting their AI down. They built a model, they actually went to market, demoed it, and they couldn't get it accurate enough.
That's the interesting part, actually, is the contextual. And that's why it's like the expert. So I think my customer really is the forensic structure engineer that is the expert that can provide context in real time to the actual images, to the actual things that they're looking at. And then through the images and the contextual text, I'm looking to pull that in, hopefully. So
if you can get that geolocation accurate and spatial stuff, then you've probably got something that no one else has been able to do so far.
Blip Rewards is creating an easy-to-use and affordable digital rewards app designed to help merchants and customers by offering an omni-channel digital reward solutions, eliminating the risk of loss of physical cards and enhance engagement and loyalty. There is still a lot of merchants that uses those physical cards for their loyalty, and most of the time when we talk to merchants, um, they don't have by doing that they don't have the um, connection to their customers, so it's a bit fragmented. So by doing this, they don't they already have will have connection to their customer base.
How do you propose to get this to people? How do they use your loyalty system versus a card that they lose?
I'm sorry.
So if you're providing like a loyalty program, how, as me as a customer, I walk into a store, how do I show that I'm a customer?
Yeah. We just provide a QR code. They just need to scan the QR code, and then they will be prompting just an email address, and then they will be able to have a QR code. And then the merchant will just need to scan the QR code, and then they will get their points after their purchase.
So if I'm a customer, I walk into a store, I scan a code, then I get an email.
Yeah, if you're a customer, you will have a mobile app.
Yeah.
For Blip Rewards mobile app, and then when you're going to the store is in the app, and then they have like a free maybe a free dessert, you know, and then they would the merchants will scan their QR code, and then they will get some points.
Okay, so it's kind of like Eat Club in some respects, where you've got the app and you've got the choice of merchants and things.
Yes.
Okay, so they have to download your app. That's the only way they can get access.
Yeah.
The three things that early stage VCs will be looking at are who is the team? Within the team, do they have domain experience? Do they have some kind of commercial technical experience? Is this a potentially large market? And then what traction or signs have the founding team shown that they can get things done? I'd say loyalty is definitely an interesting market. The question would be, is this Australia only, or is this something that can go global? I would suggest it's trying to understand what is the real itch that the merchant has and how your solution does scratch that, because many businesses like to think they are special, very special. They like to have their own loyalty programs. But the question is, does this scale across multiple merchants in multiple geographies, etc.? And then how is the merchant going to help with for promulgation of the program.
So congratulations. I mean, I did check out your website and I saw that you're on Product Hunt. So you're doing all those kinds of things to start talking to people and get things out there. But I think there's still two kind of big things to solve here on validation side, like understanding what is it that makes you guys different. So when I try and understand that question, I always like to go to the origin of when you first discovered the problem. So when did you first discover this problem, and what are you trying to solve differently to the other reward programs out there? I've got some tips for you on validation, but it's really that's the one problem you want to solve. So I think you got to find customers who don't have like an existing digital system where people don't need their cards. So you're solving problems for when people have cards or need cards to claim their rewards but don't have them on them. So you got to find those specific businesses. In regards to your product, it's hard to tell where it's at the moment. So I know you said they just scan from the retailer, but do you have any kind of interface that the customer can see, like an accumulation of their points or the profile? You do have that already? Good. So you got some advantages. You got a working product. I think you just need to double down on the validation to find more customers who are going to find benefit of this. So there's some notes that I can give you at the end.
One was when you first pitched it, I was thinking Apple Wallet, like it's just another card. And to Paul's point, then you get around installing the app because then you just got to have a card. That makes it super easy. You can then get onto the website or whatever, check your points and so on. Also makes it easy to redeem. Everyone's used to the Apple Wallet or the Google equivalent. The other, you're Filipino, you've got a co-founder in the Philippines. In the Philippines, everyone lives in the shopping malls. Should you be looking at the shopping malls in the Philippines as a starting point? Because everyone's there. You've got consumers, you've got merchants, and you've got a high density. Maybe as a starting point of validating.
My name is Slava, and we are developing an AI-based tool for emotional cognition and giving some insights about truthfulness in virtual communications.
I work a lot with sales teams, and something like this is definitely solving a problem. A lot of people are doing sales, calls through video conferencing. And they're doing it at at scale. So anything that can record and do sentiment analysis reports is a useful tool. So one, I just want to know, where's your product at, and two, what validation have you done so far, so I can give you tips on both of those. I think this product is like right for like a waiting list, right? For reach out to a few different sales teams and get them to go on the waiting list to try the beta product. Have you done any of that? Okay, well, that's your next move. You got to make 10 or 20 calls to different sales teams in different industries, car, real estate, retail, wholesale, building services, and offer it to them, and find the patterns about what sentiment analysis they're looking for, and then amongst that, hopefully a target customer will stick their head up as the one who wants it the most. So I think you just got to, you got to sell the concept before you have to have the finishing product, and just know that the customers are there. That's the best way to validate. That's the best advice I can give you. Like the product. I did do some research on sentiment analysis, on emotion detection. But it sounds like, that's your domain and you're already building that. So I'm not going to give you advice on that. I think the best thing you can do is validation testing, finding customers, pre-selling it, and talking to them before you finish building it, finding out what they want. I have seen some stuff with facial recognition. It recognizes the 6 basic emotions, like anger, joy, fear, disgust. And yes, it's never going to be perfect, but it can kind of generally tell you if it's, positive or negative.
A prototype for email encryption web service, fully compliant with regulations for seamless integration with CRM and ERP platforms to enable their customers sending quantum strong encrypted emails end-to-end to lawyers, accountants, and healthcare, and making encryption and decryption for sender and receiver painless, secure, and fast on all devices.
If I understand correctly, handling situations where documents really shouldn't be emailed but need to be emailed because there's no website, say, to upload important documents or for a customer to easily access?
It is about email encryption end-to-end, from sender to the receiver. So
yeah. Just want to, like, the business case is like, so we work in a regulated space, and as a, if you're a customer of a bank, you should upload the documents to a bank's website. You shouldn't send the email, but you're making it so you can safely email something to a financial provider or something like that.
No, emails and documents are uploaded nowhere. So it is integrated with add-on and plugin with your email client. For example, with CRMs and Gmail and Outlook with add-on. And then when you're sending your emails, they're encrypted. So the receiver part is installing nothing and paying nothing for consuming encrypted content. They just see the encrypted content.
Just that, like, because we deal with secure email systems with some of the banks, like they can't send us documents, so they use their encrypted email systems to be able to exchange documents, and it seems like it's an alternative to that.
Well, our target market,
those tools, because they're generally only enterprise available, and you're this available to everyone.
Well, we are not targeting big companies because they have their own solutions, and then tend to aggregate their customers in customer portals, which our competitors are selling. They essentially selling encrypted customer portals. So our target market are small businesses, and particularly early stage, legal, accounting, and healthcare.
Yep. Okay, that clarifies. That's what I thought it was. Okay, cool. Cool. So you're taking a enterprise tool that exists and it's very expensive, only available for that, and you're making that available to mass market.
Yes, exactly.
The issue you will have, if there's a link in an email or something that I've got to go to, do I trust that link? Do I need to know that domain? And over the last 10, 12 years, all the banks and financial institutions and everyone are training and still train everyone. Don't click on a link in an email.
Yes.
Go to our website and then access the thing. But if I send it to you in an email, that's a different story. So I understand where you're coming from, but in terms of actual adoption, and you're talking about lawyers and accountants and real estate agents, and they are not technical at all, and will do everything they can to avoid having to spend any money or to deal with any IT. If this is easy and they can just pick it up, put it in, their IT guy looks for it, done, I'd say there's a really good chance. And ultimately also moving up the stack into enterprise, because again, the current solutions are horrible. So if you can build something good, I think you've got a chance of selling it into the larger financials as well.
My company, D&T Tech, is developing AI-assisted business consultancy software to help zero accounting users stay on top of their business performance, performing virtual CFO functionality, identifying cash flow opportunities, and modeling business growth for business owners with a virtual AI CFO who communicates in non-financial terms. So basically, I'm a virtual CFO in a business at the moment, and it's replacing what I would do with the various pieces of software to advise businesses. And we're looking at key performance drivers and operational drivers. But we're starting with zero accounting users because it's open API and there's a lot of apps that are around zero. We've spoken with a number of business owners, and we were originally going to focus on business owners. But after talking to consultants, a lot of the business owners are using the consultants to advise them. So it's possibly another tier or part of this we could license to consultants so they could do their job in less time and still advise the clients. We've also spoken with a few people that work in some banks. There's potential opportunity to use this type of software for people that are approving business loans and showing them identifying some opportunities in a business that's come to them on what it could look like, things like that. Ben, you have worked with my other partner, Timothy Scholes. He's been on the program.
Oh, yes, I remember Tim well.
I'm from the financial services background, and I've been talking to people in the lending space to do something similar, to take the concept of what they're doing and with their knowledge, but, in a automated advisory kind of fashion. And the biggest challenge we've had here is that their license doesn't allow them to use off-the-shelf tools like a ChatGPT or any of those kind of off-the-shelf tools. So to build the AI, they have to build in a closed environment and with the right tools that kind of stays private, because, if you're kind of handing over very sensitive information about a company and you're just putting it through AI, there's still those fears. I did try and get around some of those fears as a way of testing. Is that like, well, what's the difference between putting that through, an email, when clients send you an email with all their financials and putting it through OpenAI. And I think we kind of know what, the guardrails of email, but we don't yet know the guardrails of AI. Anyway, so I think this is your biggest challenge. You're going to have to look at how to build it in a closed environment. And so far, I'm landing on Llama as the best place to kind of do that, because it's open source, I think. Pretty sure it is. And we're going to build it with that. But I think you've done it the right way as far as like talking to people who are already using Xero, and then you're getting the information and the plugins from that. And then, the domain as a virtual CFO. It's just a tech solution required now, because I think, you don't want to overestimate, but the validation should be there if you're working in that space. And like Peter says, you don't want to cannibalize your current market though, but you can kind of slowly build in another offering that replaces it or at a different price. Yeah, happy to chat to you more about what I've discovered with Llama and how to build like in that kind of environment.
I think it's a good idea. It's kind of like CFO advice for dummies. So for those of us who don't have a financial background, but on the board, we're managing a company with very large revenues and a lot of people, and advice is always useful. We have a CFO, we have an accounting firm, and we have in-house accountants and stuff, but there's always more help. And especially, when we were smaller, when we didn't have our own accountant in-house and stuff, it would have been probably quite useful. I'd also think about it as you're doing this advice now. Can you look at it, maybe some of the stuff of what can you replace of your own tasks? So and then offering those as scalable tasks. So which of those can you replace that you do now? So then you can also validate they're getting a good result every time, because you're cross-checking it before you give that advice. Because obviously you want to make sure your models don't go off and do something weird and out of control. So at least then you're sort of keeping it very closed and contained to start with. Are there any legal issues with this?
We're looking at the legal side of it, because we're not giving advice. It's like, suggestions or modeling what something could look like. So we do need to address that, but we're not there yet. We'll address the legal side, and we'll also need to look at the data.
Yeah.
Like Carl said.
And also, like, LLM's the flavor of the month at the moment. But if you take a step back to a previous iteration, which was SVMs, support vector machines, they're not a general model AI ML like LLMs are, because it's very general, it's very capable. SVMs are much more focused and limited, but it might be that's actually what you want. So you're replacing this task and this task and this task, and you can then keep them on point, so you don't have to worry about drift or hallucinations or other points. They're also much simpler to build and much simpler to maintain. So that might help as well. And just last point on privacy and data and stuff, if there's stuff coming into a browser, you have two options now, well, depending on the browser. So Chrome has Gemini Nano built into it. It's a 1.8 gigabyte LLM. You can access that via APIs in the browser. So, which means the data that the customer enters stays in their browser and never actually goes on the internet. So I don't know if that would be useful in certain circumstances to make sure data is private, or whether you use that to obfuscate stuff. So then they're not in fear that stuff is coming to you that they don't want you to, because you can automatically rip it out and then they can see what's going to be passed to you. And Microsoft, I think they're using the Phi 3 model in Edge browser to do exactly the same thing. So again, you can access that, so the data that the customer enters never goes over the internet and never leaves their machine.